Yeah, things are going.
Many participants join us already. So, do you think we can start now? Now it's 8 o'clock in Taiwan.
Yeah, it's better. At the moment, the
Yes.
COVID is a bit under control in New York City. So
Okay.
that's
Okay.
probably
Hello,
not.
everyone. Welcome to SIA Taiwan Regions NGOCSW 65 Virtual Forum. I'm Helen, the board member of SIA Taiwan Region. Firstly, I would like to thank SIA Taiwan Region's Governor Yu Wang, past governor, and Governor-elect Jessica Chen, as well as sisters from
Helen, speak into your mic a bit more.
Yes, thank
You're
you.
cutting out.
Thank you.
Oh, cutting out.
Yeah, just speak right into your microphone.
Okay.
That's perfect.
In addition, many thanks to our 5 panelists
Oh, good.
for today's topic. Now I would
Can't
like
hear
to,
you, Helen. Sorry,
Elizabeth.
Helen, we can't hear you.
cannot hear me.
Now I can, but you need to look to the mic as President Sharon indicated.
Where's the microphone? Here?
Probably on the face of your laptop.
Face of you, my love. Okay. Now I would like to introduce. It's okay now?
Yes,
Better?
yes.
Now I would like to introduce our first panelist, Yu Wang, Governor of SIA Taiwan. However, she caught a cold today and has no sound or voice. She has asked me to send her special and sincere greetings to our panelists and participants. Governor Wang has initiated a program on public awareness in order to celebrate SI's 100th anniversary. She has invited SIA Taiwan Region's 40 clubs to design and produce a total of 86 advertising boards with SI and SIA logos on, and put on the buildings and mansions as well as bus compartment advertisement. It's very interesting. In addition, SIA Taiwan region has its unique scholarship program for university female students who come from vulnerable families and can't afford their tuition fees and living expenses. This year, a total of 29 university students have obtained their scholarships. Today's virtual event topic is reviewing social and economic support system for vulnerable women. Reviewing social and economic support system for vulnerable women. Why we selected this topic? This is because of the economic potential of women is essential, especially in the time of pandemic. Vulnerable women face double-bind inferiority these days. This event will emphasize the compromises empowering of vulnerable groups, such as mental and physical health, the economic power through social protection, workplace conditions, and the economic participation to achieving economic empowerment, along with the sharing of self-fulfilling and financial independence. The topics including job redesign for women with physical and mental disabilities, counseling of cultural entrepreneurship for immigrants, and technological innovation for women. Focusing on economic independence and procuring self-fulfillment, whether or not in this difficult time. Next, I would like to invite International President Sharon Fisher to present her presentation on reviewing social and economic support systems for vulnerable women. Sharon has begun her presidency since January 2020, just in time to see the world change. As we heard about the spread of the virus, now known as COVID-19, this active proponent club in 122 countries, it was moving to witness Sorocomists around the globe responding to the pandemic in so many creative ways. Sharon's president appeal, Road to Equality, will address women and girls at risk of being left behind due to gender-based violence and harmful traditional practices. Sharon is a charter member of SI Lally on the west coast of Canada, where she serves as a senior director for an organization creating awareness and the prevention of elder abuse in communities across the province of British Columbia, Canada. President Sharon, now the floor is yours.
Thank you, Helen. I'll just get my presentation up. Can you see that?
Mhm.
Good. Okay, well, for me, it's good morning, but I would like to extend greetings to our friends and my fellow presenters. And it's my pleasure to be on this panel today. It's 5 o'clock in the morning in Vancouver, Canada, but there's no place I would rather be but here supporting our friends in Seroptimist International, Taiwan region. Seroptimist International is proud to celebrate 100 years of helping women and girls achieve their potential and live their dreams. Our main advocacy goal is to achieve gender equality and ensure human rights for all, and vulnerability is at the very heart of the work we do. The topic of this parallel event, social and economic support systems for vulnerable women, is exactly what our members do in over 120 countries around the world. To be vulnerable as a woman or girl is about having the potential to suffer harm or loss or be capable of being physically or emotionally wounded. This is someone with no protection and someone easily hurt. This can be related to circumstances in a community or environment that lacks supports and systems. So what do we do when vulnerabilities exist? Well, we take measures to prevent the harm and therefore reduce or avoid loss. And of course, the goal is creating resilience and the ability to recover, usually through some form of social and economic support system. So how does this apply to our work as Seroptimists? COVID-19 has disrupted the systems where we previously found success. And the obvious one is education. Getting girls into school and keeping them in school is the ultimate support system. With COVID-19, many girls are no longer in school and no longer have those safe spaces. The fact is that many will never return to school. The issues of pregnancy and abuse, child and forced marriage, and trafficking, all are impacting girls during COVID-19, and the lack of these traditional support systems are putting girls at risk. We must think about this as we plan our future projects. While it is a fact that COVID-19 has had an impact on so much, All of our grassroots work is critical to women and girls in providing social and economic supports. Please join me in a journey through our Seroptimist world where vulnerable women and girls have benefited from so many social and economic support systems organized in our grassroots communities. Welcome to Papua New Guinea, where there was a serious issue with maternal mortality. Pregnant women had little or no medical support and frequently needed to travel long distances, often on foot, in very remote areas to give birth, often without a doctor or a clinic. Over the course of several years, our Southwest Pacific clubs started a program to train and equip village birth attendants to improve maternal mortality. Village birthing attendants were trained and provided with some tools to assist women in delivering babies. Today, there's many birthing attendants available, creating a health system in communities around PNG for these vulnerable women and babies. And let's continue our travels to Africa, where young girls aged 7 and up are subjected to female genital mutilation. With more than 200 girls and women alive today having undergone FGM, this harmful traditional practice is a topic in our Road to Equality appeal. Our partner, the Global Media Campaign to End FGM, is using media to change norms and mindsets within African communities where FGM is practiced, empowering local country activists with tools and opportunities to gain airtime on radio and TV. It accelerates the message and becomes a voice for the voiceless to end FGM. They are reaching millions of people with messaging that brings together religious leaders, government leaders, and community leaders to learn what FGM is about. Many participants declare their girls will not be cut after listening to these powerful presentations. So now let me take you to Nepal, where girls are particularly vulnerable when it comes to trafficking. We found that girls are trafficked to Indian brothels in alarming numbers. The circumstances are the promise of a better life, since in rural Nepal, income is only a few dollars a day. Sponsoring girls to attend school is one way to overcome the vulnerabilities of these girls, where typically a boy is given preference to school in most families. Without an education and some economic opportunities, they are likely to be married young and live a life of hard work or be lured by traffickers with false promises. We've upgraded teacher skills and provided gender sensitivity training. Projects putting girls in school, paying their fees and costs for uniforms and books, prevents them from falling into the hands of traffickers. Several projects offer programs for digital literacy and skills training that will enable girls to earn a wage. Another issue that is keeping girls out of school is lack of knowledge on menstrual hygiene. And our partnership with Days for Girls, women earn money making kits. And I've just lost my words. That last up to 3 years to enable them to attend school and learn that having your period is not a curse or something that makes you dirty or finds you spending those 5 days a month with animals or in a small hut outside. Disaster recovery programs always find our members answering the call. After the earthquake in Nepal, one club expressed concern when they accepted that they were the only aid coming to their village. They had been supporting for many years. All of the money coming into the country to support victims of the earthquake mostly didn't arrive in any of the rural areas. And this made the grassroots support they were providing critical as recovery began. So they were able to extend financial support for the local group to purchase what was needed to rebuild. Other disasters that Seroptimists have responded to include Japan, and the main support there was to provide educational support for high school girls who lost their parents in the tsunami And then there was the typhoons in the Philippines that devastated livelihoods that required rebuilding. And in Indonesia, structural damage was the focus. Let me take you to a tribal area in India where girls are often married for dowry at a young age, or sometimes victims of trafficking and other forms of abuse. The program Beyond Football has put hundreds of girls on the football, or as we know it, soccer pitch, to learn teamwork and working in groups under the supervision of teachers and some soccer professionals. There they receive valuable mentoring. They build confidence, learn teamwork, and understand the value and opportunity of their education. No girl in this program has been a child bride or a victim of trafficking to date. These girls have never been outside the village where they were born, and now some play football at the state level. An amazing program. And these girls are from an area where 63% of the girls become child brides, and 70%, 70, are victims of abuse without these systems and programs in place. In Sierra Leone, we engaged in centers for teen mothers and their babies. The mothers had become sex slaves of soldiers in the conflict. And when the conflict was over, there were 14 to 16-year-old mothers who found themselves homeless with their babies. And the program reunited them with family and educated them with a skill or continuation of school while their babies were cared for. Now let's talk about lack of access to clean water that has created hardships for women and girls across the globe. The girls are often the water carriers as they miss school to fetch water and frequently are victims of attacks on their journey. The one support system that can make the world of difference is clean water. It leads to sanitation, food security, and better health outcomes. One of our appeals taught women how to lead in managing water. They could harvest rainwater and learn other ways to manage water supplies and succeed in agriculture skills. In rural Kenya, Lugari Community Center is a new program for us in the last year. And in addition to completing a building to expand capacity, particularly during COVID-19, we also will be participating in their Leadership Academy, training high school girls to become leaders and understand their rights. The girls are selected by the headmaster of their schools as promising leaders. The center was created and is run by a seroptimist who overcame all the odds in her own childhood and benefited from an education at the mission, eventually finding her way to Canada, where she earned her postgraduate degree and then returned to make this her life's work. Education is not only about programs and systems on the ground in local communities, but in creating awareness to advocate for change. We can only deal with problems that we actually understand, and therefore it is critical we learn all we can about root causes and the fact that some of these issues exist right in our own community. How can a mother protect her daughter if the risk is unknown? You can't protect against something you don't even know about. This kind of education is vital to ensuring safe communities where no one is left behind. We are working to share knowledge with our members through webinars and podcasts, so the stories will transfer to the communities we live in, creating more advocates to support the systems we need. When we engage here at CSW or other UN global meetings, we are thinking macro, the big picture, and we're influencing policy. However, what happens in your local community is so important. In global meetings, countries agree to words, but then countries must turn them into action. But they can't do it all. They are unable to drive the change that is needed since it needs to happen in our local communities with you and I using our energy and influence engaging in that needed action. Seroptimist and other like-minded organizations working on the ground can and do drive change. Legislation doesn't keep vulnerable people safe. Communities keep people safe. through social and economic support programs. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sharon. Now I would like to invite our third panelist, Quina Chung, immediately past president of SIA Taiwan region. She just behind me, and I will enter into a direct dialogue with Governor Quina Chung. Quina, the time for you.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I am Quina Zhang, immediately past governor of Sorority International of Americas, SIA, Taiwan region. It is my great pleasure to meet you all virtually, including our SI President, Sharon Fisher, PBW, UN representative, Susan Amalie, our SIA, and Rosemary. Rosemary. SIA Taiwan region governor Yu Wang and WRPS researcher Helen Lee. Thank you to join me for organizing this event together. In addition, I would like to thank you
Our friends, is that right?
our friends. So thank you.
Happy to join us. Nice to get and discuss.
To join us to discuss reviewing social and economic support system for vulnerable women. I hope after your event, we could get together to have a caucus to review social and economic support system for vulnerable women.
Yes, we could do this, Governor Quina. I have heard that during your governance of SIA Taiwan region last year, you had organized one NGO CSW 64 parallel event. However, because of the pandemic outbreak of COVID-19, the event had been canceled.
Yes, I think there is only cancellation.
It was regrettable and disappointed. I remember that you had prepared an abundant and wonderful presentation for NGO CSW 64 event. Is that right?
It was indeed.
Oh, I know that you had not only filmed a clip to support the activism respectively initiated by SI President Sharon Fisher and immediately past SIA President Tina Pan, which are the road to gender equality and orange the world to end of gender-based violence, but also produced a video on SIA Taiwan's annual rally from many cities around the island of Taiwan. Do you think that you can broadcast these two films for all of us?
Okay.
Okay, how we ask the engineer to have these two films. Engineers, do you think we can broadcast the film? So, Helen Lee is our young seroptomist. He joined seroptomist Taiwan region only 2 years and a half. Is that right, Helen? Okay.
Yes, I just joined in for 2 years, and I was planning to go see WC before as well, and also have lunch and another parade event, but it's canceled. But anyway, we still have this virtual event this year, and also sharing our experience, like how to support vulnerable women, especially the social and economic systems. And we found that in this post-COVID-19, it's a right time to review this system and see what can we do more and build our resilience community.
Do you think you can talk some of our seroptomist Taiwan region? We do a lot of the works. Do you remember, and do you think you can have some comments on it?
Actually, in Taiwan region, what is let me explain. The seroptomist Taiwan region is belongs to the SIA. So we basically follow the rule of SI and SIA, and especially focus on the violence, like the gender-based violence stuff. And in Taiwan, we have a hotline. It's called 113. So every November 3rd, we have a campaign, we have a march around Taiwan to advocate that everyone should focus on the social safety, especially for the women and girls who may suffer the gender-based violence. So basically, the later video, we will show that how we work together and to call out the actions and like the Orange the World, Orange the Day, in November 3rd, and we echo the hotline in Taiwan.
So the two films will be very interesting. Is that right? Yeah. So we can ask the engineer try their best and to have the films on.
While it's coming on, I'll say that I'm always impressed how the governor learns English each term that they come as governor of Taiwan region. And your English is much better than my Mandarin, I do promise that.
Yeah. Aquina has tried her best and he learned a lot of English.
That's good. I remember your last governor going through the same thing.
Okay, so let me introduce a little bit more about the video we will share later, because the engineers may take like 4 to 5 minutes to finish the film. And actually, it's the film supported by our the Queen of Town, and this is made by last year. And it's all about how our members around Taiwan.
I'm actually on a conference in China.
The joys of screen sharing. You made me host. Do you need to take it back?
So, so the
I'm sorry, I'm a little bit confused.
So Quina, how many people produce this film, these two films? You used how many time, how many days, or how many months you have the film? You finished the film, the Orange the World, and our 113 rally.
I think it's time for our engineer to share their efforts.
So we'll be very quick.
My name is Su Li Wen. I'm from Taiwan and I'm a Taekwondo Olympian. This is a global activism against gender-based violence initiated by the United Nations. Taiwan is a multicultural society and the status of women has been gradually improving. But violence against women and girls still happens all the time.
Say no to gender-based violence. Stand up.
Hi everybody, I'm Remy from France. I have been in Taiwan since 13 years now. I'm very happy to be here for marathon because I think running is a very peaceful exercise. Men and women are running together. If you hurt someone, you can say you love him or her. If you love someone, you can hurt him or her. You have the choice to be a lover who respects girls or a loser who hurts girls. Say no to gender violence. Stand up.
Hello everyone, I am Cao Manzhong. I'm the winner of the 9th Miss Taiwan Beauty Contest. In recent years, I have been participating in competitions all over the world, and I have seen many disadvantaged people who are subject to violence. That's why I decided to come out front and speak out for them, to raise the awareness of this issue. Together we can stop gender-based violence. Orange the world, stop violence against women. Say no to gender-based violence. Stand up.
Hello everyone, I'm Sayuri. I'm Japanese and now I live in Taiwan. I hope that all the boys can respect girls in the world. I would like to take this opportunity of the campaign to call on everyone to come together to stop gender-based violence. Let's orange the world. Stop gender-based violence. Say no to violence.
Stand up.
Hello everyone. My name is Mo Ai Fang. I'm from Indonesia. I have married into Taiwanese family for 18 years. As a woman and a new immigrant, I have witnessed and been through a lot. We have been treated unfairly on many things in this society. I also encourage many new immigrant friends that do not be afraid of being yourself. Do what you think is right, and you can say no to what you feel wrong. Be brave. Women should be treated equally. I can do more, give more, and put more efforts in. Not only fight for yourself, but also win credit for the new immigrants to show that we are actually a wonderful group. No to violence. Don't stand by. Say no to gender-based violence. Stand up. I'm Cai Ling Lan. I'm the founding governor of Serapnist International of Taiwan region. Say no to violence. Stand up.
Say no to gender violence.
Stand up.
Hello everyone. I'm the governor of Serapnist International of Taiwan region, Queen Zhang. Let's light a path out of violence for women and girls. Say no to gender-based violence. Stand up, don't stand by.
November 25th to December 10th is the United Nations declared 16 days of activism against gender-based violence campaign. According to the UN, 1 out of every 3 women and girls in the world are the victim of sexual assault, sexual harassment, and physical violence. A serious issue still remained unsolved. So, we hope that with this campaign, let's orange the world. And looking forward to the dawn rising out of the darkness. Come join us and orange the world. Let's stop violence together. Stand up.
In response to the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, Taiwan region decided to film this short clip to support the event. Let's orange the world and stop gender-based violence. The aim of this activism focuses on lives and rights of women and girls around the world in the workplace. We hope to draw global attention to this issue so that women and girls can be hopeful and happy again in the workplace. We sincerely hope to light up the darkness with love.
Say no. Say no to gender violence. To gender violence.
Call for the attention to anti-drug and other related issues. 113 flash mob was initiated by Serapnist International of Taiwan region, and local government, heads of each city and other groups are invited to join in together. The campaign was held at 11 locations across the whole Taiwan. Start from the Taipei railway station and then all the way to Kaohsiung New Zoyin station. Anti-drug, anti-domestic violence, anti-sexual harassment, anti-child abuse, anti-bullying. stop human trafficking, end of gender-based violence. These 7 issues are the major propagandas.
The 113 flash mob is themed with anti-drug, anti-domestic violence, anti-sexual harassment, anti-child abuse, anti-bullying, stop human trafficking, and end of gender-based violence. We are calling for the public to pay attention to these issues.
Taipei Railway Station is the first stop of the 113 flash mob, starting from 8:45 a.m. Former legislator Tina Pan was elected as 2019 to 2020 SIA president with the support of Governor Queen Zhang. It is an honor of Taiwan. It not only helps publicize NGO diplomacy, but also pushes Taiwan to the international stage.
Dear friends, I wish today's activities full success. Our main purpose to be here is to express let's say no to violence. Each one of us has to stand up. Thanks for Governor Queen's careful planning. We will have such wonderful activities in 11 cities.
Music played in the underground street of Banqiao Station, and tourists were attracted by the powerful dance of volunteers. Vice Mayor of New Taipei City, Xie Zhenda, and Director of Social Welfare, Zhang Jinli, also expressed their support for calling on the protection of women and children. We mobilized the survivalists from Hsinchu and Miaoli, heading south to Temple Square of Zhubei City. Hsinchu and Miaoli's survivalists also called for the public to use 113 protection line of women and children. Lady Gan Xiumei, who is the mayor's wife, also expressed her support for the campaign. Hundreds of survivalists and Lady Liao Wanru, who is the wife of Minister of Transportation and Communications, were gathering at Taichung High-Speed Railway Station. They held the banners to promote the 7 major propagandas to the public. In a democratic society, there is zero tolerance to domestic violence and bullying in the workplace. It also violates the universal values of fundamental human rights. Survivalists of Taichung Port came to call for the end of domestic violence.
Zhanghua Xian Club and Mayor Wang Huimei came up front for the justice, stop violence, and be a loving person.
Say no to violence. Hundreds of survivalists were gathering at the square of Tainan Railway Station. The major 7 propagandas have attracted many people to pay attention to the issues. During the Kaohsiung flash mob, Miss Taiwan Gao Manrong performed the Wings of Angels to support Survivalists International of Taiwan region. LED lights combined with dance performance, symbolizing the hope of flying, like SI Taiwan, ignite the light of hope, light up the darkness. She served as SI Charity Ambassador this year. Survivalists of Hualien Shen and the club president of Hualien Shen, Huang Shuzhu, were gathering at Hualien Railway Station. They publicized the 7 major propagandas to people. Taichung also involved in the flash mob activities. The citizens of Liyu Mountain were attracted by their puppet shows of ending the domestic violence. Penghu, there are also many survivalists who enthusiastically shout slogans to publicize the 7 issues, hoping to end domestic violence and wish a harmonious society.
Survivalists International of Taiwan region hopes to ignite the light of hope, light up the darkness. Together, let's come up from and speak up for the disadvantaged people. I expect that there is warmth everywhere in this society, which makes us all happy.
All the survivalists of Taiwan region takes the advantage of this flash mob activity to remind the public do not forget to respect, communicate, and interact with each other. If anyone is aware that their relatives, neighbors, or children around them are threatened by domestic violence, they can also call the 113 protection line to avoid the tragedy. Anti-drug, anti-domestic violence, anti-sexual harassment, anti-child abuse, anti-bullying, stop human trafficking, end of gender-based violence.
This wonderful film, we receive a lot of our participants say it's wonderful, great films. Quina, you did really very, very good job. Thank you. Now, Quina, I was informed that despite SIA's two major programs, Live Your Dream and Dream It Be It, you had initiated other two programs, scholarships for junior high and high school students, and a video clip to help teenage girls to broaden their horizons and be confident. Will you discuss how many junior high school students received a scholarship and how much money of each student obtained?
A total of 16.
Oh, during your governance of SIA Taiwan region, you give out 60 scholarships.
Yes.
And I know that each student obtained 50,000 new Taiwan dollars. That's equivalent to US dollar 1,785. This will be a big help for students from vulnerable families to pay their tuition fees and living expenses. Really, thank you, Quina. You did a lot of the job for vulnerable students. Now I would like to introduce our fourth panelist, Susan O'Malley, UN representative, International Federation of BPW. Susan would like to talk about the social protection curriculums as she worked for the Beijing Plus 25 that includes migration, social protection floors, universal health care, feminist housing, and education. Susan had a test positive for COVID-19, but she had a few symptoms and now doing well. We thank her for accepting to be our panelist. Susan, the floor is yours.
Mute. Is the sound quality all right? Can you hear me?
Yes, sure.
Yes, you can hear me. All right.
Yeah,
all right.
yeah. All of us can hear you. And we have
that's good.
more than 80 participants on the line.
First of all, I want to say I am an admirer of Sir Optimist. I thought the president's report and all you've done in Taiwan is extraordinary. So thank you. Amazing, amazing work. I am from the UN representative from International Federation of Business and Professional Women, and I did see two people in the audience. One was Marie-Claude Machon from Paris, who works with UNESCO. I think she's still here. And then Eva Richter, who is co-founder of the NGO on migration, and also worked on the curriculum. All right, I'm also, on the planning committee for NGO CSW 65. And so if any of you want to put in any comments that you have about this, you can imagine it's been an extraordinary undertaking. we had to find the platform. Does the platform work? We had 10,000, room for 10,000. Suddenly we had 25,000 with 900 people on the waiting list. It's been quite an experience. But I would love to hear your comments. You can email me at susano'malley4@gmail.com or in the chat. But now to get to my comments. You can imagine that the cancellation of CSW 64 was traumatic to us. I'm the past chair of NGO CSW, and I have a title called ex officio, which means that I'm on the planning committee and that I pick up pieces and I give advice when I'm asked, those kinds of things. But I was on the planning committee for last year and this year and will be, I think, in next year too. All right, it was canceled. We had to deal with all the contracts we had for all of those spaces, return money to, I think 700 people. It was crazy. I was also upset that the Beijing platform had been, the Beijing platform for action with its 12 parts had been compressed into 6. And somehow they had left out education, climate change, and migration. Now, I thought that was not good at all. Climate change, climate crisis did get back into the 6, but migration and education did not. And so a group of us decided that we wanted to do a curriculum for Beijing plus 25. The part that I was interested in was the social protection part, to try to understand the different parts of social protection and devise a curriculum. And so a whole group of us got together. We were originally called the Eradication of Poverty and Social Protection Floors, but soon we became the Social Protection Curriculum with 6 topics: education, migration, social protection floors, universal health care, feminist housing, and widows. The last, widows, was because I had been asked to be the UN representative for Widows for Peace Through Democracy. And I'm convinced that attention must be paid to the circumstances, the conditions of widows, if we are to eradicate women's poverty by 2030. So 11 women, you can hear me all right, right? Can you hear me all right? What's going on?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
You can hear me, okay, all right, all right. So 11 women, academics, several doctors, teachers, human rights practitioners, started working, believe it or not, right after CSW 64, and we worked until October to complete our curriculum. We enjoyed working together, helped one another, disagreed a lot on presentation, but I think it made the curriculum better and stronger. So today I thought I would talk a little bit about the sections on education and universal health care. So, you know, I live in New York City, in the United States, and it's interesting. Well, first, New York City had the highest percent of, or has had the highest percent of COVID cases in the world. Now, why? Why? Well, that is what we learned. The United States is a democracy. It could be more democratic, but it is a democracy. But oftentimes, because of our economic system, it puts profits ahead of people. Although this is changing, I think more is changing now because of COVID and because of our new president. So we have no universal health care. I think that's hard to imagine coming from Taiwan or Canada or where some places where Scotland, where people are from. So healthcare is not a right in the United States, although it is at the United Nations. Now, most people, at least previously, got their healthcare through their jobs. Or if they were in a union, they could get it through their union, although the United States is not highly unionized. So I was a university professor, and my healthcare came through my job, and that's total healthcare. And now in retirement, I also get healthcare through my union and my university. But what happened in COVID? People lost their job. And what happened? They had no healthcare. So what do you do with a pandemic when you don't have universal healthcare? It was tragic to see. Many people would go straight to the emergency room if they had a high fever, or if they were having trouble breathing, if their oxygenation was low. But what happened? The hospitals got too crowded. And there were real strain on healthcare providers. At nighttime, I could hear the sirens of ambulances picking up people. And if I walked down DeKalb Avenue, what did I see outside of the hospital? But a very large refrigeration van to store bodies, because they could not, funeral parlors could not keep up with the death rate. And this is the United States, and this is New York City. It was terrifying. Also, under Obama, people were required to have health care and pay a penalty if they did not have it. But the insurance was expensive. And there was something we call co-pays. So if you went to the doctor, you had to pay something. So people would avoid going to the doctor because they didn't want to pay the copay, and they should have gone to the doctor earlier. Now, people over 65, like myself, have Medicaid, which is a fairly good system. I get good health care. It's more like other countries at very little cost. Under Trump, he managed to take away the people who were not required to have health care. And so we went into the pandemic with terribly inadequate health care. We also have in New York City millions, I think it's 4 million of refugees, migrants, immigrants with no documentation. And so many of them were afraid to access healthcare because they were going to be deported, or they were afraid of being deported, being sent back to their country. So it was a horrible, horrible situation. I must say, though, in support of the city, I did get COVID, but I only got the test because I was visiting an older friend, and his daughter wanted me to have the really good COVID test. So I got the very good gold star, not any quickie test. And the city called me to say I had COVID. Oh my goodness. I said, but I'm not sick. They said, you have it. And so the city, if you had COVID in New York City and the city knew it, they did not let you alone, and that was good. Every day I received a call from the city, and how are you today? And then they would say things like, what is your temperature? Do you need to come to a hospital? They gave me an emergency number. They even said, do you need a hotel room? I said, well, I didn't, but that was nice. Do you need food? Do you need mental health counseling? They did all kinds of things. And I was very proud of my city. I had really a few aches and pains, but no symptoms. But I thought, now this is a really good city. The other thing they did is contact tracing, which is absolutely essential for fighting COVID. Now, what they do is they say, who have you seen the last 4 days? And I gave them all the names and the phone numbers. The city then called, I think it was all of 5 people, and said, you have been exposed to COVID. Luckily, I called the 5 people because they didn't give my name, and they got really worried because we had taken a walk in the Botanic Garden, 4 friends and myself, outside in the Botanic Garden. And I'm a cellist, and I had played with my accompanist. So those were my only contacts in the 4 days. And so when they heard it was me that had exposed them, they went, oh, I'm not so worried now. I mean, we were outside, we're not worried. Anyway, when you look at the city and who died, well, older people in nursing homes, many more men, but also many Black and brown people died. And why? Well, part of it is because of crowded housing. Part of it also is people who are homeless and were living in shelters or on the street and nursing homes. And also that Black and brown people did not have the best healthcare or access to healthcare. And so that has been quite an awakening. We have also realized the United States has the worst maternal mortality rate of all the developed countries. And that's something we addressed yesterday at NGO CSW in a wonderful panel in the anti-racism section on Black maternal mortality. And a lot of it is racism. And why we say that is that many women with PhDs, professors, doctors, very prestigious positions also have been subjected or have had incidents of maternal mortality. It's not just people who are poor. And so we're trying very much to educate people about that and then see what we can do about changing that. All right, just a little bit on education. Of course, the schools were closed. And what does that mean? Well, it means many women had to stop their job because they had to be with the children, helping them with their schoolwork. Or they worked at home in their job and then also tried to supervise their children's schoolwork. It was very, very difficult for women. Most school was virtual, online, and they tried to give people, the school board, the Board of Education, tried to give people without computers, they gave them iPads. But the problem came with connectivity. In other words, being able to afford internet access. And so if without internet access, children had trouble going to school. Sometimes you would find mothers with their children outside maybe a library or someplace that would be a hotspot where they could get connected to the internet. Children in shelters had a particularly hard time. Schools would open every once in a while, and then two students would come down with COVID, and the schools would close. Schools tried, one of the big problems with schools, they're old buildings, they did not have proper ventilation. And without air circulation, without ventilation, it's very difficult to reopen schools without addressing the ventilation problem. Schools reconfigured, having desks 6 feet apart, but it's been very, very difficult. We also know that globally, and this was touched upon, that COVID has increased violence, and that was true in New York City too, violence within the home. It has increased globally early forced marriage because of poverty. Mothers, parents feeling that letting this happen, or children being kidnapped. And the fear in the United States is, will children be able to go on to the next grade? Will they have done enough work this year to then be promoted to the next grade? My daughter's is a librarian who in a school who does, she does some teaching. And it's interesting that she teaches both some students in the classroom and some online. You can imagine how that is, trying to have a classroom with a whole lot of people on Zoom and then students in front of you. So I don't have much to conclude. I know what I need to say. I need to tell you where you can get this curriculum. And what I'm going to do is put it in the chat. I'll put the WordPress place where it is stored. I did social protection, but there's sections on conflict, there's sections, all kinds of things. In our curriculum, we also have everything surrounded by various human rights documents that people can use in doing advocacy in the various parts of the curriculum. The curriculum is very much an activist curriculum, how to get educated on these topics and then how to get involved. So with that, I think I'll stop so people can have questions and answers. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Susan. I think that when our last speaker finished her presentation, then we have a Q&A. Is that okay for you?
Yeah.
Susan? Oh,
yes,
okay.
yes.
Now, I would like to introduce our young lady, Helen Lee.
Oh, good.
She's the researcher of the Foundation for Women's Rights Promotion and Development, WRP. She is going to report Taiwan's reviewing social and economic support system for vulnerable women. Helen, the floor is for you.
Thank you, Helen, and everyone. Okay, one more time. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes, certainly. Sure. Okay, everyone. Good evening in Taiwan, and good morning, good afternoon for everyone in the world. It's my pleasure to be here to share the program that we have taken for several years. That is about social and economic support system of vulnerable women. And before I start my presentation, I also want to echo a few words to Susan just mentioned. We have talked with Susan for several times and very close friends for the last 2 years. As you mentioned that the education, climate actions, and the migrations we talk about, they are totally related. And actually, related to program I would like to introduce is some kind of relationship between the education program and also the vulnerable women who suffer from climate actions. So, before my presentation. Here is the background about my foundation. I actually also the researcher of the Foundation for Women's Rights Promotion and Development. And the foundation was founded in 1991, which we have over 20 years. And this foundation serves as an information platform for the exchange of gender-related policies between the government. One-third of them are government representatives, and one-third of them are gender women's rights experts. And the last part are the chief executives of civil societies. So with all these supports, we hope to have the civil society organizations and the policymakers can have could be on the same page. So we are according to the examples of social and economic support plans, and both of them are cooperation with the public sector. The first support system is single parent empowerment, and is targeting disadvantaged single parents. And the other one is Taiwan Indigenous Women's Power, which is targeting in the indigenous women who have been affected by natural disasters. And here we go. The first one, the single parents who have a child under 18. And the purpose of this program is to encourage single parents raising children under the age of 18 and to complete their basic education and professional planning in service of their economic rights. Single parent families often have difficulties balancing the need to take care of their children, as well as the pressure to make a living. And people say that it's better to give a man a fishy role than to feed them fish. So this single parent empowerment program comes to serve this function of providing a fishy role. And under this program, we have worked with the government who responds for family welfare for 8 years. Through these sites of education plan of single parents, they may have opportunities to balance their needs, care, and the economic community. For this program, the people who have to meet all three of the following conditions, and they are the most disadvantaged people, and given them the economic support is very important. For example, the people, the most vulnerable among the single parents victims of domestic violence. And we hope these single parents could continue their education. So they have to currently enroll at college, high school, or vocational school. And we also balance evaluate their economic condition. So if they have a family income less than 2.5 times of the minimum standard of living, and that will be one of the criteria. And this standard also adjusted by the standard of city, so it varies among Taiwan. We saw these vulnerable people among single parents who may need the economic support the most. And how we evaluate our impact, because this is a 10 years program, so we need to revise it and we need to evaluate like every 4 or 5 years, so it can keep on the track that we need for these days. So basically, we have social and economic impact. And for example, it is a connecting point to another welfare institution. For example, for the victims of domestic violence, and we will connect them to the service from the local social affairs. And for the parents who are also the minors themselves, and then we need more living support and childcare allowance. So basically, from the 2012 to the end of 2020, if nearly 2,000 single parents have been granted, and it included the tuition and the cost of intern childcare. Okay, sorry. I guess I messed up.
Is that okay right now?
You must have 2 devices going at the same time and it's creating an echo.
Yeah, I think so. We are trying to figure out another device. Okay. No, it's not okay. We're trying to figure out the technical issues.
Okay, let me switch the screen and the computer so I can continue my presentation. I'm sorry to have these technical issues, and once again, can everybody hear me clearly this time? Yes? Okay, thank you. I think it comes right. So I was on my page, the single parents program, and talking about the social and economic impact. And
You'll have to speak straight into your mic because you're cutting in and out all the time. Just right up.
Okay, just like Helen just happened in the last time.
Exactly.
Okay, is that would be more clear now?
You're good now. Yeah.
Thank you. So actually, we have point out 3 impacts under this program, and the last one is the education matters, because all the program is trying to make the single parents more economic competitive, and so we believe the education is matters, and so the subsidies is mostly for their school fees, and also the children take cares during their school's time. And we do a survey in 2016, and like 85% of them, they believe it helps, and they believe it helps in several ways. First one is they have allow me to take my notes. The first one is the enhancement of professional ability. And like 50% of them believe that enhancement of employment competitiveness. And also there are 30% of these program participants. They believe this subsidy help them to obtain a second expertise. So we think that's a kind of social and economic resilience to help them to get back that balance their lives between the jobs and the child care. And since I just mentioned, the program has taken more than 10 years. So we think it's time to think about what's next step and how to have more revise and adjustment to make it more now to more than these days. So we have the
As soon as you put your head down, we can't hear.
Like, sure. Okay, I need my notes and my voice clear. Is that okay right now?
Yeah, it's okay. As long as your head's up and you're talking right into your mic.
Okay, maybe I can turn off my camera and then I can just more close to the microphone. That would be great. Okay, thank you for the reminder. And the following will be the two-step suggestions from my PowerPoint presentation. And the first one is to add the certification and license training courses into the economic subsidy. And because the license is significant assist in job completion. And the second one is to include the single parents who study in graduate school into the conditions. So basically, we put these suggestions into our next step, and hopefully, we have more assistance to the vulnerable people. And for the second, I would. Okay, now we are going to our next program. It's called Indigenous Women Who Suffered from Climate Change. And it started from 2011 and until to 2019. It's more like 8 years. So we have 3 phases on this program. The first one, phase 1, we focus on the communication. Because we try to leverage the traditional culture and also the economic support into one to their workshop goals. And let me brief some about the program. And why we saw this, we saw this because there is damage in indigenous community in South Taiwan in 2008. And after the typhoon, the indigenous community faced a really difficult time. They lost their house and their village and due to the safety concerns.
We've totally lost you.
Hello, is that work right now?
That's clear now, but I don't think you guys have a directional mic. You're just relying on your laptop. So you're going to have to just put your mouth right into it.
Yeah, I found way to have the earphone with me this time. So I hope that will be work. And since we have 7 minutes left, and I would like to left more time on the discussion, so I will make the last 2 slides more quickly. So you can sharing that actually it's a program like to negotiate with the indigenous community and to help them to satisfy not just the economic needs, but also the mental health and the family community. Because for the mommy, they have to leave their home to get more job opportunity, but they also want to stay with their children. So this program is help them to rebuild their workshop, their handicraft workshop in their own community. So they can do that at both at the same time. So they don't have to leave their community. They can have their economic earning and also create more job opportunities for all the groups. And so in these 3 phases, we deal with different difficulties. The first one is building the communication with the people. We need to build the trust so that we can help them to rebuild this business model. And the second is the marketing. We try to make this brand become a sustainable ecosystem so they can have their own model and no need more government funding anymore. So last part is like the last part is like the collaboration and network. We put these small workshops into a collection brand so they can work each other and showing us a brand to make their culture be seen under this TIWS. And actually, there have several social and economic impacts this time. For example, the economic opportunities, we have 12 co-working space and which have 22 sales spots around Taiwan, and it creates 59 jobs and the income per month 9,000 per month, and which is like 1/3 in income in Taiwan. So I also rebuild this community resilience. We believe these people, when they're building their community back, and we also take a long time to communicate with them. So we put the disaster response into the negotiation and help them to rebuild the disaster response in their local communities. The indigenous people, their community in Taiwan are often in the mountain area, and it's more easy to suffer this kind of damage. So we believe it's a little step up to build these communities' resilience. And the last one is we keep this cultural diversity and inclusions. We understand and respect the culture of the indigenous women, so their products also combine the modern designing and their core value, and we put this together, and so we can have the economic support but also have the social meanings at the same time. So basically that will be end of my presentation, and since there will be not much time for the presentation, I also left several links that we can follow up later. And for example, as I mentioned, the foundation is a platform for the NGOs in Taiwan and also bridge the government issues and also the local issues. So we will introduce female NGOs every month through our e-newsletters. So you can follow us on the median platforms, and you can find one practice each month what the NGO in Taiwan are doing. And also we have collected all the milestones, achievements for the past 25 years in Taiwan. And that will be more like the how we make these policies happen, how we make this law happen, and how the public and the civil society work together. These milestones are also collecting as a progress in our website, TGEW. And the last one will be our social media on Twitter. We post updated women's status in Taiwan. So if you're interested to know more about Taiwan's women issues, and these 3 platforms will be very helpful. And I guess that will be all for my presentation today. Thank you. Thank you, Helen. I think our time seems 1 minute left. If you have any of the questions, please write down the message to us, and we can answer all the questions. A lot of our participants left the message. They want to have Queena's films. Queena said that he will put the films on SIA Taiwan Region's website, and you can link, then see the films. Or maybe in the next year, we can go to New York. Then Quina will give you the film to you. Then you can have it. Any other questions?
Helen, we're happy to put that on the SI website also.
Sharon, I cannot hear you.
We're happy to put that on the
No voice from
SI website also.
no voice. Sharon, we cannot hear you. Would you repeat your?
Can you hear me?
Everybody else can.
Now we can.
Yeah, I
Okay.
said we could put that on the SI website also.
Oh, thank you. We can have your film on SI website. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, our panelists. I think this is a very good event for all of us. So we will say goodbye to everyone and see you in New York next year.
Thank you.
Next year.
Oh, goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.